Everyone, and welcome again to Jubilee Sports Extra. Today we have a very interesting topic to discuss. It is a hot seat. Before that, we're just going to look at a very important topic when it comes to football and health. And to discuss that, we have somebody in the house, a very seasoned physician in the house. I'm going to be introducing him. He's Dr. Victor Owolabi, uh, and he's going to be talking to us about heart failure, causes, prevention, and treatments. And just so you know, if you're joining us for the first time, Jubilee Sports Extra is brought to you by Jubilee Christian Center, and this happens every first Thursday of the month. So we're going to just dive into it. So now, when we look at heart failure, there are some very scary statistics. So I'm just going to browse through it in summary as much as I can. In professional football between 2014 and 2018, there have been like what 617 recorded cases of cardiac arrest or heart failures that occurred during a match. And many of us will know about Tom Lockyer, who collapsed in 2023 during a match between Luton Town FC and Beaumont FC. And we also can remember the former Bolton Wanderers FC player Fabrice Mwamba. I hope I'm not ordering that name. And he also had a heart failure while playing. And the record shows that his heart actually stopped for about 68 minutes. That is really, really scary. And but for, the few people who had training, CPR training, most of these people we're calling today, like Wyatt and the rest of them, would have been long gone and they'll be probably just remembering them. So that's why this topic is very important. And we have doctor in the house. We don't have a lot of time, but as much as possible, he's going to be telling us about what causes it, prevention, and how best to handle it. So, doctor, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. I first want to say thank you to the organizers and to JCT and the leadership for the opportunity to be here. I think it's a very, very good platform we have on here. It's good for community spirits, and it's good that we're also finding other ways to get some more educational and potentially life impacting stuff into it as well. So I spoke to Mr. Maker about this, and he said the focus will be a bit football oriented, but it will also be interactive and driven by questions from the audience. So I would start off with the causes of heart failure, but I'll focus a bit more on the subject, which is in sort of athletes. So, I mean, heart failure by definition is, when the heart fails to, carry out its usual function, which is to work as a pump to sort of pump blood through the pipes, so to say, which would be the blood vessels to deliver blood that is rich in oxygen to the organs in the body, which all the organs need basically to function. So the heart is pumping all the time and it's going through these blood vessels. And basically, when the heart fails, it means for whatever reason, it is struggling to do this job of getting the blood around as it normally would. And in that kind of a situation, we say the heart is failing. By definition, it sounds quite scary just on the plain term heart failure. It sounds like the heart itself has failed. It's more often is an ongoing process. The heart is failing. Its functional capacity is reducing gradually, and cardiac arrest is when there is complete cessation of of the heart function. So you've mentioned two group of athletes here. Some have had cardiac arrest, which is when the heart ceases to function, CPR needs to be instituted, and they might get return of the function of the heart, and then they might come to and they'll get some emergency institution for support. And then we'll talk about heart failure, which is they've noticed some parameters in the function of the heart are no longer as before. So for causes of athletes experiencing cardiac arrest, the commonest cause from my research is something called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. It's just a medical jargon. Hypertrophic basically means enlarged, bulked up. You can hypertrophy your muscles when you exercise, when you go to the gym. The heart itself is a muscular organ, and there is some degree of hypertrophy we expect with exercising, with doing your normal stuff, and the heart just working over the years of your life. But in certain group of people, they've got heart muscles that are unnecessarily bulky, very large, very bulky. It's mostly genetic. It passes on from family to family. Not often is it acquired, but most times it's genetic, and it can be quite silent, and it tends to rear its head in younger people and more often than not in athletes. Why the heart ceases to function in this group of patients is for the heart to do its job as a pump, it needs to go through phases where it can relax in its pressure to receive the blood that has gone around the body. So there is a relaxing phase. Medically, we call it diastole. The heart needs to relax, get filled up with the blood, and then it gets ready to go into the pumping phase, which is systole. So this is what the heart does basically round the clock. Relaxes, receives the blood into its chambers, some valves open up, the blood flows to the next chamber, and then the heart pumps it out through the blood vessels. The heart that is hypertrophied, the resting pressure is too high. So the blood returning, it's not filling up as it should. Even when it pumps so much that it doesn't relax long enough for the heart itself to get some blood supply to itself. The heart as a muscle, though it's pumping and feeding the rest of the body, it also needs blood supply like the rest of the organs. So this heart muscle is just a very bulky guy. He's got a lot of muscle, but he doesn't really have the time to chill, to relax, to get filled up with blood, actually get filled up with enough blood to actually pump around to the rest of the body, and also still have enough time to get some amount of blood to nourish itself. So that's what happens in this group of patients who have the hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, and the heart unfortunately fails in this group of individuals. Um, it runs a family, so sometimes it can be picked quite early, but otherwise it just manifests in, athletes who sort of just pass out, and then they do some special tests, heart tracing, and then they pick it up. And then what causes the failing heart in adults is a different type of cardiomyopathy. Cardiomyopathy is basically a medical word for disease of the heart. Myo is muscle, pathy is disease, so cardio, heart muscle disease. And hypertrophic is bulky one, but the ones that fail is dilated cardiomyopathy. Dilated is medical word for sort of flabby. It's still a bit of increased capacity, but in this case, it's less of muscle, it's more of just widening, a bit of floppiness about the heart tissue. So this type of heart struggles to pump. It is relaxed.
Sorry,
Sorry.
doctor, I'm just going to put you before you continue
Mm-hmm.
because I don't want to forget the question I was about to ask. So we're
Okay.
talking about, I'm not going to use all the jargon to use. I'm just going to say
Mm-hmm.
people with enlarged hearts. Is there anything they can do to avert or to reduce the enlargement? So you mentioned it's genetic. Is there anything, for instance, the athletes can do so that they don't fall into cardiac arrest, on the field like some of them have experienced?
Yeah, so when you say enlarge, I mean, and you said genetics, so you're talking about the ones that sort of got the thick muscles. It's
Mm-hmm.
genetic. There really often isn't much that can be done to restructure the heart
Right,
itself. More often than not, they put them on medication that can help sort of adjust the function of the heart. Medicines that could reduce some of the pressures in the blood vessels and the pipes that would make this heart that, is able to pump well but doesn't really relax, still somewhat manage with it. So all the
right,
different medicines they use for these patients just sort of walk around dealing with the reality of the heart is the way it is. We can't change it, but how can we help it maintain its function? And they also would involve adaptations to the nature of their job. They're not going to be playing 90 minutes or exerting as much as the average person would. They would have a
right.
lot of training going into place to know their specific capacity. There's a lot of advancements in sports medicines. They put them on the treadmill. They know where the oxygen levels sort of dip. So they themselves, they would know the changes. And of course, lifestyle, smoking, alcohol, drinking, they need to have strict diets and all that. So that's basically what they would do for this group of patients.
Okay,
Right.
doctor,
Thank you.
let me, sorry, let me also jump in here, still on courses. Um, I want to ask this question because I feel this question could be what someone could be thinking out there as well, who's watching us this evening. You mentioned something about the heart being a muscular organ. Um, and you mentioned something about going to the gym.
Mm.
So are you saying to us that we need to think twice about how frequent some of us go to the gym? That's one question. With respect to our heart. And then you mentioned something about people having specific capacity. I heard when you mentioned that. So are you trying to say that we need to think about the capacities we have, the individual capacities we have as a people when it comes to how often and how stuck in we get into some of these athletic activities? And then I want to also ask finally, what did some of these people we know who had this cardiac arrest? I mean, I know you were not there when it happened, but I want to ask, what did they do wrong for that kind of a scary? Because I've witnessed about two of them. I witnessed when Fo, who played for Cameroon, when he died on the pitch, and I saw the pupil in his eyes lift, and he was left with the white one. It was so scary. And I also saw when Mwamba had his own, when he was playing for Bolton Wanderers FC. He just collapsed on the pitch and all of that. I wanted to ask again, what did these guys do wrong to have led to such an outcome? So my questions are about gym. Do we need to think twice about how often we go to the gym or how stuck in we get into some of these gym activities? And again, secondly, do we all have different capacities as to how much we can take when it comes to sports? And then thirdly, what did some of these people that collapsed on the field of play do wrong to have led to some of those outcomes? Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you for your questions. They would help me at least address some of the other points I was going to speak on. About the gym, I think everything in balance and moderation is very key. We always would want you to exercise. We sometimes would want you to push yourself to the point where we say you're breaking a sweat. That's the type of thing sometimes. And this would be in those who potentially might be already overweight and you're trying to lose some weight. We want to increase your heart rate to the point that you actually get to burn some calories and all that. But there has to be a fine balance. You have to also be able to pace yourself. You have to also be able to rest. Before you build your capacity, you gradually, you could start with once a day. You might be doing light exercise. Then as you begin to feel more capacity, you can increase how often you go, or depending on maybe you're doing a treadmill, you can adjust the speed. So it has to be a graded process. But even with the graded process, there still is a limit every person has. Some people have genetic advantages over the others. I mean, if you see the long distance runners, I'm sure you've noticed East Africans and Kenya,
Yep.
some of these guys, they seem to they're made for it. They live in higher altitudes. Their lungs are made for it. They can function on lower oxygen levels than the average. So there are some already established advantages some have over others that would make you know that, okay, this person's limits would definitely be different from the others. But there is always, there's always this place of mind over matter and human will and body. You are able to extend your capacity, but it has to be within, controlled areas. You need to have someone who is a professional in this area. These athletes, when they pick them up from maybe the training camps, or maybe they saw them randomly playing on the streets in Brazil, they didn't have the capacity that they have, but they were able to build it up with time, getting them lean and thin, getting them to change their diets, making one or two changes here and there so that they could build their capacity. Despite that, they were able to say, okay, this is how far we think you can go. And then they were able to get them to say, these are the changes you made to achieve this capacity. You would have to do as much as you can to maintain this lifestyle such that you can always keep up to that capacity. So when some of them, for whatever reason, maybe a night before they go out partying or they drink or they misbehave or something happens, the coach might say, you can't start the game, or you play only 30 minutes instead, because they know this is from, they have notes. They literally have specific like oxygen levels. This is the MPH this guy can do. This is the average number of minutes this guy can play. And this has come from, time of proper research into it. So yes, gym is very important. We do want you to exert to a certain level, but you have to pace yourself. If you've not been physically for years, don't just throw yourself into the gym and start and put on the highest treadmill. You could get yourself exhausted. That could cause a lot of other injuries and other problems. Pace yourself, build it up gradually, and you still would also have that sense of where your limits is. And in terms of the other question, which was do we all have different capacities? Yes, we do. There's room for pushing yourself, but also there still is going to be a limit to how far you can go. And about the guys, did they do anything wrong? The other thing I said, which is what causes heart failure, is dilated cardiomyopathy. That, on the other hand, has a lot of causes. The muscular bulky heart that is hypertrophic, mostly genetic. That other one, Unfortunately, doping, drugs does have a hand. I'm not saying this is what these guys in question did. Doping, drugs do have a hand. Cocaine, methamphetamines, anabolic steroids, they are nasty stuff for the heart. Even the process of injecting, they get some bugs that go into the veins, and some of the veins drain directly to the heart. The heart itself
Yes.
gets infected. Heart infection, myocarditis can cause heart problems. Alcohol itself is one of the causes of dilated cardiomyopathy. It's a direct link. Alcohol itself can cause that heart to become floppy. So medically, there are some clearly identified causes for, why the heart could go that way. But there'll also be the misnomer where we didn't know. We never knew this guy just had this hypertrophic cardiomyopathy disease, and he just decided to rear its head on the day, and the guy unfortunately collapsed. Out of hospital cardiac arrest can be very fatal, and more often than not, the survival rate is not really great. I don't know. I hope I've answered your question. So I've listed a number of causes stylishly of, heart failure. Hypertension is a very important cause, maybe not in athletes, in the general public, in case anyone is listening. Poorly managed hypertension, the heart is constantly under pressure because the blood vessels are thickened with cholesterol and all that. All that pressure the heart is working with causes the heart to then become thickened and bulky. So it's then going towards that process. And if this is not addressed by high blood pressure medicines, which the blood pressure medicines, what they do is they relax the pressures in the blood vessels so that the pressure is reduced on the heart, thereby reducing how the speed at which the heart itself progresses to probably failing at some point. But people have had this problem for years. It's not been picked up, and then it just manifests itself in the worst way. Their heart has failed because the heart has been working under great pressures, high blood pressure. That's what it means. And then the heart failure. So that is just these are just different. Diabetes has a hand in it. Diabetes causes you to build up more fat, more cholesterol. Those pipes, they need to have a very good caliber, nothing lining them. But what happens with cholesterol and diabetes is you get plaques. Plaques are collections of fat, sugar, and all that. That reduces how much space the blood can flow through. What does that result in? It results in the heart pushing more against pressure through this narrowed blood vessels. So that's literally how this thing works. So lifestyle really has a hand in all of it. Smoking, alcohol, diet, exercise, going wrong in all this can eventually, lead up to the heart working against an uphill task. So I've spoken a bit about treatment. Treatment prevention is getting your lifestyle right. Exercise, don't overdo it. It's okay to get yourself to break a sweat a little bit. You yourself, you would know when you've actually done some proper exercise. Consistency is even important. Even if you are not breaking a sweat, if you're doing level of moderate exercise every day or 3 days a week, that's brilliant. As opposed to you go one day in the gym, you push yourself so hard and then you fall out because you can't sustain it. So these are just the number of days. I would wait if any other questions because I'm mindful of my time.
Yeah. And then
I think I have a very simple question to ask. Probably it might not be simple anyway. For a family who has this heart failure in their family, like a genetic stuff, what are the symptoms, the signs for people who doesn't know they have this thing in their family? What are the signs and symptoms they should be looking at?
Okay. So I think it's very important if anyone knows of family members who had a heart attack or what we call adverse cardiovascular event, heart attack, maybe even cardiac arrest, and maybe they did CPR, they came back to life below the age of 65, that alone is enough reason for any young adult, more often males, because this hypertrophic one that runs in the family more often happens to the males. Such young men should make sure they get a check with their doctor. They will do some blood test and they will do a heart trace and ECG, which will tell us what the electrical rhythm of your heart is. That's a good place for us to start. If that already is abnormal, we would most likely send them to the cardiologist, who will then do specific scans that can look at the chambers of the heart that will tell them how thick or how bulky it is. Symptoms, in terms of symptoms for the person, unfortunately, they often would not show any symptoms till things go horribly wrong. On the other hand, those who have heart failure from other causes like diabetes and all the other things I mentioned, easy fatigue. You don't normally get fatigue when you just change position, stand up from your bed to go for a wee. You find you're feeling so short of breath without minimal exertion. Why? Loss of appetite. Some people lose weight. It's mostly just fatigue and that shortness of breath. Some people find that they cannot lie flat on the bed without pillows. Some people find they're using 1, 2, 3 pillows to sleep because when the bed is flat, they feel like they're gasping for breath, like they're drowning in their own fluids. That's because the heart in that position is working against so much gravity. It can't pump the blood as it should. So fluid builds up, and then the body wakes them up and tells them, look, you have to sit up. So these are some of the signs. You should be able to lie flat comfortably in your bed without many pillows. Of course, it's different if you do it for comfort, but if it's from a point of view lying flat, you're finding it very hard to breathe, get yourself checked. If you're waking up in the middle of the night gasping for air, it might mean that for some reason towards the middle of the night, your heart struggles, you're not getting enough blood, your brain literally has to wake you up. And when you sit up, naturally, because of gravity, your heart has less of a work to do, and then the blood goes around. So those are some of the things to look out for. Prevention is very key. Young onset of very bad stuff happening in the heart in family, less than 65. Any young man or even the ladies also, is sensible to get yourselves checked. Especially in this part of the world, nobody's going to turn you away. Back home, it might be a bit more like, well, why are you worrying? And they might suggest to go see private or something like that. But here, if you see your GP, or this uncle, that uncle, or dad, or brother, or sibling, God forbid, but any one of them happen to have a heart attack, 50, 40, 63, 62, and maybe there weren't even a lot of problems. They didn't have any issues. It just happened. Get yourself checked. Generally, in the NHS, we encourage that once you're 40 or older, get a health check. Check your cholesterol, or check everything. And if there was maybe existing heart problems in the family, you could do an ECG as well, which is the tracing of the hearts that could pick this up. But athletes, those who are into professional, sports or semi-pro, very early on, they get this test done very early, because like Dr. Lebia said, it's so rampant now that it would be considered negligence if these issues are not picked up. So from the very get-go, if they picked up a young athlete with promising future from Nigeria, from any part of the world, once they arrive in, getting their health checks, they check all these things.
Okay. The final question from me, Dr. Victor. Thank you so much for the enlightenment so far. For me, I wanted to ask, so let's just take this off football now to our homes. Say, for example, you have an elderly person at home, or someone in your house who just suddenly experiences such a thing like this heart failure that we're talking about today. What can you do?
As a family member, or from the health point of view?
Yeah, as a family member.
As a family member, if you feel a family member is displaying signs and symptoms of heart failure, you need to get them into hospital. I mean, depending on how bad, the symptoms they're having. If it's just you notice their vitality and energy levels have reduced, mom's your old brother, you went up the stairs and you're really panting so hard. Why? You could, that at that point, it could be a case of getting an appointment with the GP. And from there, the GP can start the process, and if they pick up anything and they need specialist intervention, they would. But if it's more of a case of, I forgot to mention, sorry, your name is Junior on the screen, swelling also of the legs, you see buildup of fluids around the feet, the ankles. What that is telling you is, because when you stand, think about it, the pressure sort of from your head down to the leg, the part of the body that the heart might potentially struggle the most to send blood to or return blood from will be those closest to the ground. So when the heart is failing, more of the blood will be pooling in the lowermost parts of the body when you're standing, which is why sometimes they will build fluid in the legs and they will have these swelling legs. So if they're having those kind of symptoms, get them to the GP. But if it's something like very short of breath, they just move from here to there, they are very short of breath, or lying on the bed, they cannot lie flat, they're having to use 3 pillows. I would say you're absolutely okay if you take that person to the A&E, because that might just be life-saving in that kind of an event. But in the scenario of being at home with them, of course, you have to be, caring, loving, supportive. Look at the diet. If you have a hand in that, reduce the salt. If they've got high blood pressure, more fruits and vegetables. Good water intake. Replace fizzy drinks and sugary stuff for water. These simple changes and maintaining them can also be helpful. Some heart failure patients, unfortunately, need to restrict their fluid intake, because you can't keep drinking the same amount as the average person if your heart is at the point where it cannot pump as the other person would. So, but these are the things that family can also support with once the specialists have advised in this direction. I hope I've answered your question.
Yeah, yes, sir. But what about if it was an extreme case where the person lands on the floor and the pupil is going up?
I'm talking of arrest. Sorry, we interchange heart failure with cardiac arrest.
With arrest.
Cardiac arrest, like Unfortunately, what happened in Nigeria how long ago was it that, now a lot of the influencers and media people have instituted basic CPR into their skits so people can know. CPR is very important. CPR, there is this A, B, C, D. The more important part of CPR now is the chest compression. A is for airway, like, all those mouth-to-mouth you see in movies. The chest compression is the most important part. If you see someone you think is collapsed, make sure the person is safe, make sure you are safe, no sharp object and all of that, because you might need to go down the knees and get to pumping. So they say check for safety first, confirm for signs of life, shake the person gently, hello, call out if no response, blah, blah, blah. They used to say check for a pulse. If you're not a health professional, don't worry about checking a pulse. Clasp your fingers together, something like this. You want to have a very good grip. If you're right-handed, you can maybe put your right hand on top of the left hand so you can really control the distance. You want just the heel of your palm, just around the center of the sternum. Sternum is that midline bone. So we're talking about be a bit more of 2/3 down instead of just being very high up. More of 2/3 down. There'll be a good give there. And then you just keep going. You keep pressing, you press. They say the ratio thing, I wouldn't want to worry about it for the layman, because if you give good compressions, good compression is you see the chest proper go down and you allow the chest to come up also. Your hand is not coming off the chest, but you're sort of in a bouncing motion.
Yeah.
Chest itself has a sort of flexibility. Some ribs might break. That's not your problem in that moment. That can be sorted out. That's not going to kill them. But if you're giving good compressions, you are helping the heart to pump. All that heart needs is to pump enough for that blood to go to the brain, and they restore their consciousness. And then afterwards, life-saving intervention can take place. I forgot to mention, call for help, 999. ASAP. If it's just you alone, it could be difficult, but put your phone on the side, be dialing the 999, do what you need to do. If there is someone else, delegate, someone should call the 999, you start the CPR and keep going at the CPR. If you can give rescue breaths, that's something else. But if you give good CPR, you can worry about all the ventilation thing when 999 is a bit different in children, unfortunately. Children, the airway part, the lungs part is more important. Children, you need to give, I think, 5 rescue breaths. You need to, that nose part. They say you need to sort of, depending on the size of the child, some you might be able to give it directly into the mouth. If it's a small child, an infant, you are going to aim to cover both their nose and their mouth to get the air into their lungs. How you know you've done it is that air is not escaping when you put your mouth on the side and you see the chest actually rise. And you do it that way, at least 5 rescue breaths, that's what they say. And then you return to pressing the heart. There are a lot of technicalities for children, because depending on the size, are you going to use one hand? You might use a bit of common sense. Depending on the size of the child, you might use one hand, the heel of your palm, go that way. Very tiny one, you might use 2 fingers, that type of thing. But compressions, very key. That is CPR. It's life-saving. And that's why out of hospital cardiac arrest is fatal, because depending on the location and the enlightenment and quote of the people in the area, if they're able to institute it timely, the person will survive. And also, how soon can the emergency response services arrive on scene? Because CPR, you get exhausted. It's proper work. But if you have multiple people, what you do is you rotate. Okay, because you don't want the quality of the compressions to reduce. So nobody's not just there watching. If one person has been at it, you might be strong, you might be a muscular guy, but trust me, you get tired. And with tiredness, the quality, the depth of the compression reduces, which means the pumping of the blood is not as it should. So once you begin to feel tired, call for help, and then you do a sort of 3, 2, 1, so that you have a smooth transition. You move or someone else goes on the chest. So that's very important.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Doctor. This has really been very, very enlightening. I've learned so much myself, and I'm sure all of our viewers are very grateful for this session. Just to say, if you're following us, sorry, on YouTube or Facebook, you can pop in your questions about whatever we've discussed, or whatever question regarding to health and football, or generally health in general, and we can pass the question down to Doctor after now. And of course, you get the response. Thank you so much, Doctor. We're glad that you were here, and thank you for honoring our invitation.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
It was really, really fun. Really good.
Yes. We'll probably call you back next time, because I think probably the next topic should be stroke. Because again, that's what a lot of people go through as well.
Yeah. It would be good if we have more, but I'm happy with the engagement. But it would be nice if there are more people engaging and asking questions. It was in the chat box, because that's the best way to learn, because from people's real life experiences and relatable concerns, like Junio asked about people in their family, what symptoms. Mr. Emeka mentioned what he witnessed and all that. If I just went off a textbook, came here with some PowerPoint and slides, it would be a bit boring, and I think this way was much better.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so
Thank you so much for having us. Like we said,
so
we'll
much.
bombard you with the questions when we get to them. Thank you.
No problem.
Great, guys. So that was Dr. Victor Owolabi. Like I mentioned earlier, if you've got questions, you can just pop it on our YouTube page or Facebook. And of course, the questions will get to Doctor, and you get your responses against your questions online. Alternatively, the IT department will pop the contact number on the screen, and you can send a chat and somebody will get back to you. Thank you. At this moment, we want to move over to the hot seats for those who are going to be answering questions for their clubs, the clubs that they support. Now, nobody should look at me, because I am just going to be here watching and being probably the umpire and asking questions. But we're having Gozier. Gozier, you need to introduce yourself and tell us what, just so the viewers will know what club you're supporting. Your mic is muted, and then we'll go round.
Okay, is it me first?
Yes, just introduce yourself and what club you're supporting, and then we'll have the next person. So right now we have three of you. You're just going to be against yourselves.
Hi everyone, I'm Chigo. I'm an Arsenal fan, dedicated Arsenal fan.
Did you need to add dedicated?
Okay.
Okay, Bishop.
Yeah. Oh, my name is Emeka. I'm representing Liverpool FC.
My name is Junior, the one and only official Chelsea fan in the house.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
All right.
Proud Chelsea fan, regardless.
So one and only is not good enough. You have to add proud. Well, that's interesting.
Well, I'm here for these guys tonight.
Okay, as we all know, you all are on the hot seats. I am just here as an umpire, and I think that we're going to start by probably telling us why you think that your clubs are to be regarded as the top or the most efficient club. You might want to use some examples of their achievements to tell us why you classify them or categorize them as the most efficient club. Of course, that's why you're supporting them. So let's start from Junior.
Oh, that question is very simple for me to answer. I know I've got a lot of things to talk about, and one of it is the achievements, which I know some of the teams there will not be able to talk about their own. But as a Chelsea fan, I'm an European, a whole European winner. I've won European leagues, European trophies, which some teams have never ever in their career win. And also,
like which teams?
I'm not mentioning anything for now. That's what
you were an European winner.
But you was never.
You were an European winner.
A team has never won European, a whole Europe, and you classify one thing, sir. Sorry for diverting this question. One thing that I always think of is some people will be supporting a team. Will you prefer to be always winning than not having a trophy than to have a trophy and be part of the people that are proud of their team? A particular team has never even had a trophy for over 20 years. Sorry to say, take 20 years out of our age. You know how old I was then. And you are here supporting a team who has never won a major trophy for over 20 years. And you said you are winning, you are supporting a team. Anyway, I'm not mentioning any team. And there's a particular team here tonight too. Next season is going to be very hard for them because the coach is leaving. And when the coach is leaving,
I don't understand. Why are you not mentioning the
There's
next?
a
That's the
team.
purpose
There's
of
a
this.
team right
The
now that
purpose
is
of
at
this
the.
is
There's a team right now that is at the bottom part of the table.
Any team that's at the bottom part of the table, let them mention. Chelsea is not at the bottom part. I'm on ninth on the table.
Did I say you? I did not say you.
To mention my name,
We
confront
are
me.
doing indirect. We are doing indirect today. Oh.
This is one of the best teams you ever have in Europe. In this millennium, in this century, you can, if you want to talk about teams that has achieved most in this century, there's no way you won't mention Chelsea. I'm not
okay.
a small boy.
Okay, Junior, let's streamline your answers. Remember what I said. What makes them efficient? I need you to give us practical examples. They won so and so. They've done this. Look at the quality of coach they've got or the quality of players. I need you to pre-point it. Your time is almost up, so we can move to the next person.
Dr. Olivia, if I want to start mentioning Chelsea achievements so far, is numerous. Is numerous. Like,
okay, tell us.
I can't even finish counting them. But to be very frank with you, like I said, I've won European Champions League, I've won European Cup, I've won the League EPL, I've won FA, I've won talk of every league, World Best Club League. I've won a major league that a normal team is meant to be won rather. I've won it.
No. So why are you ninth on the table now?
Well, because of this is something about life. I don't want to talk about the team right now. There's a particular point at everybody's life that you'll be going through some difficulty. Presently, I'm going through my own difficulty. This is my trial period, and I will overcome it. It's as simple as that. I'm facing my own tribulation, my own challenges. Remember, even as Jesus Christ, our Savior, went through his own trial period, and he overcame. So I'm going through my own challenges now. By mismanaging my funds. I thought this is a good management. By mismanaging my fund, but that's not even that's none of your problems, sir. My own problem is right now I'm facing my challenges. I wish I'm sure by next season, come next season, if someone that has made many you were second last season. This season now you are about to become second, and you are here talking to me that I win a league before
Junio, what makes you think that next season Chelsea will be anything better than what they are this season?
And understand, Junio, understand that.
Let me explain to you, obviously. Obviously, if you look at what Chelsea have been playing in their previous match, like early season, to what we are playing now, you will see that we are improving. The only problem I think Chelsea is having facing right now is a finishing problem, which I think Michael Jackson is not even an option. We don't have a striker now. So I'm not using Michael Jackson because he's a dead man. It's better to have a dead man than don't have anybody on the pitch. So that's it. But next season, obviously, we are going to get a better striker, not Michael Jackson.
Okay. Do you think Chelsea will get a better striker, knowing fully well that financial fair play? Chelsea have an issue with financial fair play and they're spending. So I think there's a problem there. That's why Osimhen, they're not thinking of buying Osimhen again because of the money.
See, it's very, very certain. A lot of things are meant to put in consideration. One of it is the financial fair play that was put on Chelsea has not been confirmed yet. It's still in court, which probably we might win, we might not win. And if we do not win, I know there's going to be a way out. We can't continue using Jackson and think we have a striker. And look at what Pochettino is doing now. He's trying to bring in, if you look at Chelsea, 2-3 matches now, he has been bringing some new players, young players from our academy now to the team. Look at, like I said, the time we played against Arsenal, we actually gave them the match to win anyway, but that's not where I'm going to divert to. See the players, look at the kind of players I use. Small players, kids, young boys, trying to give them experience, let them understand what is called a big team, playing a big team. So I think that's what Pochettino is trying to do now. And if you look at our last match, he removed, like he substituted Michael Jackson and bring in, even this particular player that I brought him, I don't even know his name.
Nicholas Jackson, not Michael Jackson.
Yeah, because the guy is a dead body.
Okay, that's okay, June.
Thank you.
That's okay. Let's go to the next person. Let's go to Bishop. Bishop, can you tell us why your club is more efficient? Be more practical than Junior, just straight to the point. You have 2 minutes to defend yourself.
Okay. Oh, I enjoyed Junior session anyway. So for Liverpool FC, I don't think anybody will be surprised where Liverpool is at the moment. in the league, because at the start of the season, nobody was even expecting us to be at the top of the table. We were all thinking Man City, which is why I'm not very happy that somebody is not on this show today, but we'll see next time, because I was going to come for him. For Liverpool, I'm happy with where we are at the moment, and I think we are very efficient so far. Generally speaking, apart from one thing, there's only one problem Liverpool FC has so far this season, and it is the fact that our coach announced his departure earlier than I think he should have. That thing struck the heart of the team, because earlier than, before he announced his departure, Liverpool was flying. Liverpool was doing so well. But immediately he said he was going, we gave it like 1 or 2, 3 weeks after that his announcement. The team started depleting. The team started losing the fire. Even the way he manages now, he will just stand on the touchline. They score a goal against Chelsea, and you see Klopp, our coach, laughing. You see his teeth, and I'm like, come on, we are losing now. Come on, coach, do something. But you wouldn't see that energy like you would have seen before, And I think it's because he just knows that he's on his way out. So there's nothing to really fight for. And the only thing I thought he could have even, pushed in the team could have been to encourage the team to give him his departing gift. Like send forth. Somebody's going, let's play for the coach because he's leaving. At least let's give him a trophy to go with. Even that one, he couldn't push them in that direction as well. I just see a team currently who is just, doing their business of the day as normal. Let's just do it and go, But be that as it may, I don't think Liverpool is doing so badly, compared to some other teams on the table today, who are also arguing with us this evening. So left for me, I would say, even though we are not where we want to be, we are not too far off from we are far off from where we used to be.
How do you think? How do you think? Sorry, I just wanted to ask. How do you think your future will be with Arne Slot coming in?
God bless you. That's the same question I want to ask.
So, and Mr. Slot is coming in, right? One thing we must understand is that the team will give him the benefit of the doubt to buy his players, okay, to build his team. I wouldn't expect an immediate result from him. Come to think of it, Arteta, how many years did it take Arteta in Arsenal to bring Arsenal to where they are now? To even talk of, what we are.
The point Liverpool are at now, and the point Liverpool are at now, and the point Arsenal were when Arteta came in and does the same thing. Just to say that. So the level we are looking at and it's Slot to finish next season should be way higher than where Arsenal were. Well positioned do you predict Liverpool to finish next season?
Top 4. We'll still be within the top 4. We'll still be within the top 4. I would say probably second. Second. Because you know what will happen? Let me tell you what will happen. Slot will come in next season, and like it happens in every club, every of the team members will want to show themselves. They want to buy his heart. They want to play very well so that, the coach sees them that they can do their job. Okay. And what that then does overall is that before you know it, we are up there again. We are pushing for the trophy again. We are pushing for FA Cup. We are pushing because everybody is trying to impress. That initial push, everybody is trying to impress the coach. So, for this first season, I would say Liverpool will still be in the conversation. We're still going to find ourselves, within the top 4 area, if not second, third.
Please, one very quick question, please. I'm sure you watched your match against West Ham 2-2 draw.
Yes.
What actually happened between Mo Salah and Klopp? Because they got engaged in a kind of confrontational, quarrel or fight like that, something like that. Because if I can remember, Salah happens to be one of Klopp's most favorite player. But at that point, I don't see why Klopp and Salah, who I felt like they are very good, be having a clash. To the extent that, Salah was warning him that Alaye, keep quiet.
So let me tell you what happened right there. This thing happen every time. We see it all the time. We've seen it with, all these top players, Cristiano Ronaldo, Balotelli, all these players that feel like they are opinionated. They have their say. We only see with them. So what happened right there with Salah was that he was injured at a point and he was given a rest. But in that particular match, he felt he could come in and play, but the coach thought otherwise. The coach thought, let's give you a little more rest. But as the match wasn't going the way we wanted it to go in the second half, towards the end, the coach then felt, okay, let me bring you on. Maybe you can produce some magic. And he himself is looking at the coach to say, is it now that you are bringing me in? I am Mohamed Salah. At this, I think it was about 80th minute or so. Sorry?
That is pride.
Yeah, so he was giving that big man vibe, big star boy vibe to the coach to say, no, is it now you're bringing me into this match? And what do you want me to do now to do magic in this game? They were having that kind of banter. But after the match, Klopp did say that everything had been sorted and settled in the dressing room, even though when the journalist met Salah on his way out and asked him what happened, Salah just said, I better not talk. If I talk now, there'll be fire. That was what he said. And then he walked off. So these things happen. But again, it can only happen because Salah knows Klopp is on his way out. If he knows that, if it were that, Klopp was going to stay for another season, he would think twice before he can talk back at his coach. Because he knows, if I talk like this, that means next season I'll be eating bench like beans and rice.
Bigger things will come and, bigger things will definitely come for him. Salah is a big player, So you having someone like Salah on your bench, is going to be like a minus to you as a manager, because you know what he's meant to be, what he deserves, and what he can do, what he can offer. So you having Salah on your bench, that's why the fact that he's rude to you. It's just like when Balotelli was in Man City, he was a major man. That's why the fact that he was rude. They keep pushing him. They keep, you can't bench him anyway.
They can't Salah is an old man now. He's getting old.
Look at Real Madrid. You know the kind of player Real Madrid used to buy before. Not now, before. Senior retired players.
Oh, boy, the game is changing now. The game is tilting towards young boys now. See all the young guys. See Mbappe, see Haaland, see Bellingham. Young boys, Barcola in PSG. They're all small boys. Those are the ones that are acting now.
Please mention Palmer.
Okay, Liverpool. Let's give it up. Let's give space for Arsenal to tell us about why Arsenal. What's so wonderful about what's their achievements? What makes them more efficient? Is it a player? Is it a kind of coach? I'm looking at the leadership in Liverpool. I just say the man has not. I'm not judging anyone, but if I'm to assess, has not exhibited good leadership skills, because he should be able to produce a group of people who would, against all odds, still stand the test of time, and he should be, going forward towards finishing strong and not just letting everything collapse down like a Jenga game just because he's leaving.
Yeah.
So let's hope you guys provide us something better than what Liverpool is giving.
Yeah. So for Arsenal, like the question is, why I think Arsenal is. So I'm talking about presently now. Presently we're in a season, and this season we're the best goal scoring team in the Premier League. We're the best defensive team in the Premier League. The best defensive team in Europe's top 5 leagues as well. I checked today, the best team in Europe's top 5 leagues. So I'll say that our trajectory is definitely for the top. We're currently at a point this season where we're challenging for the second season in a row. And you can just see even bringing in players like Havertz, who had suffered before for the past 2 or 3 years in the Premier League. Arteta has a way to change these players and motivate them to perform how they were at their peak, for the reason why Chelsea bought him around 70-something, 80-something million from Leverkusen. He's bringing him back to being that kind of player. So you can just see that Arsenal is a very fruitful ground for any player looking to be at the top of their game. In terms of people in this panel right now, Arsenal is the only team that participated in the Premier League this season. Sorry, in the Champions League this season. So looking at all the teams on the panel right now. So I'll say that
to what end now? Is it just to participate? What did they get to panel?
I'll say
just let him land.
So I'll say that. So I'll be saying that Arsenal is definitely the best team for any player right now to come to try and go to the next level. I'll say, comparing us to any other team on this panel from this season going on to the foreseeable future.
Okay.
Are we allowed to comment?
Sorry,
Yeah. Comment.
Please.
Yes,
sorry.
Go ahead and comment.
Goze, please. What is the effect of a team that has always been at the top of their or at the peak of the league or at the peak of any trophy without winning, please?
I can see that Man City had been participating in the Champions League for such a long time, and they finally won it once. After how many years of being in the competition? To say probably like they have been there consistently while they were winning the Premier League. They couldn't still be able to win trophies like the Champions League for a really, really long time. In fact, the first time in their history, basically, that they ever won it. After all the time of winning the league, they've finally done the treble and they've been able to win the league. All this while, they haven't been able to do it. So I'll say it does take time for a team to progress to that stage. Our owners weren't investing as much as we needed to invest, as much as they needed to invest in order for our club to be challenging well enough again. And you can look at the history books for that. As they started spending more money and investing more money, we're starting to get better quality players. You can see Declan Rice, 105 million, possibly the most consistent player in the Premier League this season, if you're to call anybody. So yeah, that's what I'll say.
Yeah. One more question.
Yeah, just before you go ahead, just so you know, Arsenal, you've got some people supporting you. We've got Toby on the line in YouTube saying, "I'm here for Arsenal." So you've got supporters.
Pastor has been trying to call, and I'm sure Pastor wants to attack Arsenal, but I don't know how
I provided him the number. I expected IT to put it up, but just so you know, if you want to call in, we have 07417428537, or you can call 07440369450. IT, please can you put up the numbers?
Yeah.
Okay, we have a call coming in. Hello.
We can't hear.
We can hear you, sir.
Oh, I can't hear any.
We can't hear Libya.
Hello?
Dr. Libya, can you put the phone on speaker, please?
Yeah. Okay. Let me call you back on that number. If we're having problems with the connection, I'll call you back on the number so that everyone can hear you, sir.
But Arsenal, how can you say what you said?
They can hear you now.
You had the question. You had this.
My question.
Yeah, your second question. Yeah.
I'm a bit not confused with your answer because I don't see reason why Arsenal has a consistent Champions League attender. Be comparing themselves
we have Pastor online now.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. Can you hear him?
A little bit. Yeah.
People have to be quiet to listen to. We are calling. Can you hear me? Please?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yo, my name is Kolawole. I want to contribute to this program.
Yes.
My first question is this in the meta now Liverpool fan?
For now, sir. For now.
Abandon Chelsea and join Liverpool.
For now, sir.
Talking about Liverpool as our club.
For now, sir. For now.
That is not good. So you abandon our team, no problem. When we come back, people like you, we match you. We match. Arsenal fans can talk whatever they like. When you talk like an Arsenal fan, you know, it's easy to talk. May 19 is the day we are going to decide who wins the league. No matter what we do before now, May 19, it's irrelevant. At the end of the day, it's going to be the same level. We don't win anything. By day 19, May 19, the trophy is going to be over to Man City. And it'll be 2 years that Arsenal has failed. I'm going to mark my word.
Nah.
That's
But why is it that Chelsea can't talk about themselves in the title? Sorry, excuse me. Why can't Chelsea talk about themselves in title conversations anymore?
No, the problem is it's not what you do. We have won the Premier League, we have won the Champions League, we have won the European League, we have won all the league, we have won the World Cup, we have been world champions before before Man City. Now, Dr. Ivan to show for it. The last time Arsenal won the Premier League was 20 years ago.
Imagine that.
And they have never won have any European trophy. Listen to me. You are saying that you are the best team in Europe. Why? That is nonsense.
What
You have to show to be the best team in Europe. You lost out
which is no shame.
Which is no shame to lose to Bayern Munich. Which is no shame. So forget about that now. So by May 19, all of us will be the same level. Because finishing second, finishing third, finishing fourth, finishing fifth, nothing to do with it.
It's nothing.
There's no trouble for third, no trouble for fourth, there's no trouble for fifth. You know, it's either you are a champion or you are a failure. So when Man City win, all of us win. So forget about what Man City do now. Don't forget about it. After we have nothing to show for it. So thank you. Now you have joined Liverpool. We remain scared.
Now this is why Chelsea can't be in conversations. This is why Chelsea can't be in conversations.
And you are losing your manager. By this time next year, Liverpool they'll be struggling to remain in Premier League. I bet you that's going to happen.
Relegation zone.
Minister Emeka is a symbol why Chelsea shouldn't be in any conversations.
Let me just tell you, let me tell you something, Gozi.
No, that's all I'm saying.
Anything you want to say now. All I know is as long as Premiership is concerned now, myself and you were in the same category.
No, we're not.
We are in the same category.
No, we're not.
That's the reason we end up in the same category.
Because you've not been in title challenging conversations for how many years now?
We title challenger. What did you achieve with that one? Nothing. We are in the same category.
When was the last time Chelsea challenged for the title?
All of you, it's only Man City that can be talking, that we are required.
When was the last time Chelsea challenged for the title?
The same category. The time I was looking at the trophy, where were you? Where
Okay.
When was the last time Chelsea challenged for the title?
When I won the league consecutively, where is that now?
When was the last time? Can you tell me the year? Can you tell us the year?
The first English team that won what was it called? Two European main league was two European main league was Chelsea in 1999. Do you know that? And now the team
we lost the Premier League to last season are the treble winners.
Now you said the team you lost to, not the team that.
The treble winners. The treble winners. Something Chelsea have not been able to achieve. Only Man U have been able to achieve. So the fact of the matter is we are competing with a juggernaut.
Achievement in football. I am your boss.
Arsenal are competing with a juggernaut. If Chelsea, if you could bring all them Hazard and Costa now, they will still win the league.
As a team in Europe,
Hazard and Costa won't win this league.
More than whatever.
Hazard and Costa right now are not winning the league. Do you know that?
That one is not even the problem, my brother. Give me my flower. That's why I mean.
That is all I'm saying.
Thank you.
Football has gotten more advanced over time.
Don't mind this Arsenal boy.
Football has gotten more advanced over time.
Chicken Republic players.
Football has advanced.
I'm sorry, but we have to call it a day.
Like I have a bed of players that are meant to be in cemetery. You went to go and wake them up. You are saying you have a team. You have I saw those guys because they are useless in my team. What are you talking about?
They're useless in your team.
Next month.
No, you're seeing what they're doing and we are seeing where you are.
What are they doing? What have they done?
We are seeing where you are now.
What is the conclusion of what they are doing?
He's a higher goal scorer than Nicholas Jackson, than Michael Jackson.
He's called Rich Palmer.
Havertz or Michael Jackson? Who's playing up front?
Michael Jackson.
Does it call Rich Palmer?
Havertz or Michael Jackson?
All your Jesus, Gabriel Jesus, Saka, all of them collectively.
Havertz or Michael Jackson?
That small boy, Palmer. None of them collectively had their own goals. The entire
after dashing in penalty, how many penalties have Palmer scored?
That's none of your business.
That's all I have to say. Can we move on?
None of your players has ever.
That is all I have to say. Can we move on?
Forget.
Hold your fire. Hold your fire. We're going to stop this here. By next time, we're going to have a more full house. So we see what Man City has got to say as well. But right now, we're going to have to call it a day. Yes. If you have any other comments, you can pop it on our YouTube page or on Facebook, and we'll pick them up next time we're on air. But thank you for joining us. Just in case you joined us halfway, this has been brought to you by Jubilee Christian Center, Coventry, RCCG. And this happens every first Thursday of the month. We'll see you again next month on the first Thursday, and we'll bring you a more juicier topic. Thank you for joining us. We've had Gozie, Junior, and Bishop in the house. And my name is Labia Fakai. Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.